Hey everybody, I just want to do a quick reading. I haven't done one in a while, but I figured I've got time today, so why not just do one just real quick. This is on the U.S. elections, 2020, the presidential election, and I'm just going to do a brief overview. Usually I like to go through each and every one of the cards, but I'm trying to work on my brevity and keeping these reads short. So I'm going to paraphrase and simplify everything the best way I can. So basically, this is the first card, the second card, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seven, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so basically what these cards here, they're just talking about what's going on right now and things that are presently affect the energy that's presently affecting the situation. This card here, basically this is the house divided card. There's lots of division along class, race, gender, whatever. People, the country is like falling apart or coming apart at the seams, and people just can't live, coexist together. Everyone's at odds. So that's what's basically going on. And then you have this card crossing it. It's basically just saying that, this is basically, this card here is just saying that the country really wants to get back to happier times, harmonious times, prosperity times of celebration. Like people are really getting sick of the divisions and the bitterness and the pulling apart of our country and the ideals. So this is kind of what is going on, like the crossroads, for lack of a better term, of what's going on with the state of our country in the United States for those outside of the U.S. So this card here, the third card, is basically talking about a lack of compassion. This would be two things. So it could be talking about this lack of compassion, lack of empathy that we see when immediately I think about the immigration situation and the kids that are, being detained at the border. So this talks about that. And also this can talk about financial debt, lack of responsibility in taking care of our economy. So immediately I'm thinking about the trade wars and all the other, the jobs and things like that. And so that's what's going to be in the back of the minds of the American public as election day comes close. So fourth card, next card, is the Ace of Wands. This card here is basically saying that everyone wants change. Wherever people's political leanings or wherever they come from, everybody wants to change. Everyone wants change. But the question is, how are we going to, what is that change going to look like, and how is that change going to, benefit everybody or just a few, or, what is that change going to look like? So yes, there's going to be change, and people are going to be inspired and to make that change happen, and that could be for good or bad. So yeah, let's move on to the next card and see what that has to tell us. Knight of Pentacles. So basically this is the card that's what's going to be on everyone's mind as election day approaches. So this is basically the Knight in Shining Armor. This is basically, we're looking for leadership that is going to be financially uplifting, people that are basically someone that's going to be able to bring prosperity, bring hope, bring back the values of America, and the whole thing that make America feel good, and work it's like basically someone that people are looking for leadership, and it's more of a thing of, and that's the thing, because America is like, we have all these divisions and and bitterness and toxicity among so many different social economic lines. People are looking for leadership. People are looking for someone that's going to give them what they want, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing. And what this card is telling me is that people want leadership that is going to bring results. People want leadership that is going to bring change. And like I said, that could be for good, or that could be change that'll benefit everybody, or change that'll benefit some people. So yeah, take it that what you will. All right, next card here is the World card. So immediately when I look at this card, I'm basically hearing that a lot of the divisiveness and the bitterness and the cutthroatness and the lack of compassion, the lack of empathy, and the toxicity that we're going through as a country leading up to the election in 2020. It's a spiritual journey for our country, and this card represents the end of a spiritual journey, the graduation point, if you will. So everything that's playing out in the media and wherever, leading up, involving election 2020, all that is, it's a divine thing. It's a spiritual purpose behind all of that. And what this is telling us is that, once we deal with our issues of, sexism and racism and poverty and how we treat, immigrants and other people that are different, whatever the socioeconomic status of the person is, like once we deal with those spiritual lessons that our country hasn't really dealt with, then this is what is taking place in order for us to do that. And that's playing out in terms of election 2020. And again, this election is basically, and if you want to read it another way, this is basically the United States on the world stage. This is a very important election. A lot of people are going to be looking. The bull, the lion, the eagle, and the man, those represent the four corners of the earth, the four archangels, the fixed signs of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. So basically, it's going to be all eyes on this election. And it's going to be pretty important, and it'd be important for, like I said, the spiritual lessons and purpose of what's going on and what plays out leading up to the election, or it could be just important because we want to know who the next leader of the free world is, so to speak. Next card is the King of Cups. So King of Cups is basically it could be a person, and this person is they're really emotionally balanced. This is usually the older male. They are someone that's trustworthy, that's someone that is nurturing, someone that's looked at as a father figure, someone that, like I said, emotionally balanced, emotionally mature, that they have their, their heart and their mind are in the right place. They mastered their emotions, and it's like they think before they speak, and they're diplomatic. So this is what is going on. So this is what's going on with what is on the psyche of the country currently. It's kind of like we have this image that we want to project, and we want our next leader to kind of, reflect that. That makes sense. All right, so next card is the Three of Pentacles, and this is basically talking about what's going on, within the country, the environment. So basically, like, there's a lot of cutthroatness, a lot of competition, a lot of one-upmanship. Everyone's trying to get theirs, and a lack of teamwork. You see, there's three people in a cathedral, and they're all trying to work together to design and build the cathedral. There's the craftsman, there's the priest, and there's a noble person. So with here, it's like there's class fighting, class division, social economic, like everyone is just trying to get theirs. Like I said before, in this card here, the lack of empathy, lack of compassion, lack of charity, everyone's thinking about themselves, a lot of selfishness, a lot of ego, everyone's not really thinking of the higher good. So that just kind of confirms what this card here was saying before. And the next card that we have, this is in the hopes and fears position. And this is in the upright position. This is what I call the happily ever after card. But in the reverse position, as it's shown here, this is kind of like delays in that happily ever after. So a lot of people are afraid or fearing that they won't have this happily ever after with the election is concerned. And this could be a delays, or this could be interruptions to that happily after. But the thing is, this is a very positive card, though. So even though there may be delays and there may be interruptions, or it may be a little bit of a struggle to get that happily ever after, that peace, that harmony, that prosperity that we all want for our country and hopefully for one another. It may be some delays to that, and people may be afraid of the severity of those delays. And for the last card, which is the final outcome, is the Judgment Reverse. Now, Judgment Reverse, this card ties in with the sign of Scorpio. So this is basically, what you see here is the Archangel Gabriel, and this is depicting a scene from Judgment Day for anyone that's familiar with the Christian Bible. Deals with Revelations and the whole thing about Gabriel awakening the dead on Judgment Day for the final judgment. But like I was saying before, in terms of the spiritual journey that we're going on, as I talked about in this card basically is just confirming that this is a spiritual journey that is going to wake a lot of people up to the state of our country and the divisiveness that we saw here and here, the lack of charity, the lack of compassion for one another, the lack of humanitarianism, the debt, the spiritual and moral bankruptcy that is going on in our leadership, and a lot of the things that people, this election is really going to wake up a lot of people and wake up people to make change, like I said before here, make significant changes so that we can grow from this, so that we can learn and become better as a country. And it's not going to happen overnight as as it is reversed. So that does mean that there are some delays to, having that enlightenment moment where, we as a collective in this country start to make those changes and start to work together to make our a better country. But it's not saying that it can't be done or it won't be done. So I'm going to go more into depth about what I was talking about before with the Scorpio card here. So I looked at a lot of the candidates that have Scorpio placements in their natal charts. So, but the major ones that I've seen, there aren't really a lot. There have some. Let's see. There's the only one that I found that was a Scorpio sun was Joe Biden, and actually he has a stellium, which is 4 or more planets in one particular sign. He has a Mars in Scorpio, a Mercury in Scorpio, Sun in Scorpio, and Venus in Scorpio. So since this card resonates with the sign of Scorpio, and this card here also resonates with the sign of Scorpio, this card actually resonates with the Sun in Scorpio. So based on these two things, this reading, from what it's telling me now as of July 20th, 2019, there may be a good chance that Joe Biden may be in the presidency in 2020. So, but again, and I'm gonna put a little bit of a disclaimer. We don't know the time for Elizabeth Warren and some of the other candidates, so this is only based on the information that I have right now, and based on the candidates that we have, the information such as the birth time, location that's available. So from what information that we have now, it looks like there's a good, strong probability that Joe Biden may be in the White House in 2021. But like again, you know, we all have free will, and we, like I said, some of the candidates, we don't have all their information, so we don't know what Scorpio placements they may have in their sign, but this is the information that I have at the moment. So yeah, so that was the reading. Thank you so much for letting me read for you, and stay tuned. I'll be back with more, and thanks for watching.